quote this on me. There is no way the Orioles or Red Sox make the playoffs this season. There's no way. There's no way.
For me, I gotta build a snowman.
I don't think all Mavs fans look into the stats like I do.
I'm mixing names, swapping pitchers' names, and everyone today. So thanks for catching.
I've given up on Drew Lock. I think you trade him.
I set the bar really low at the NBA predictions.
How are we talking about the Thunder in a MLB preview? I have no idea.
That's a perfect name. What you said, name brand players. Like, it's not the great value Target brand toilet paper or whatever. It's the Charmin Ultra Strong.
I don't know if Nick Nurse is the coach for the Raptors. I don't know if he's the reason why they won the 2019 championship. I feel like that was more of a team effort. Yeah, this questions the firing of Dwayne Casey, who I think is a very underrated coach. He's making the best of the Detroit Pistons situation.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I was surprised that the Clippers gave up Lou Williams.
Everything's going wrong for the Lakers at the wrong time.
The Mavs cannot say we do not miss Seth Curry shooting threes.
Them losing like 40 players to the Chargers who play online.
I'm just gonna, and it lands to the Dolphins. I'm just gonna have to throw my hands into the air.
I agree 100%, and the reason why I agree is because this is a terrible trade for the long term.
To me, the Capitals really pushed all their chips for this season. So happy belated birthday to Madison Bowie.
Sam Bennett's someone I really expected to be a better player.
Hello, I'm Mike Grimes, and you've been listening to Outsiders Opinions with Kevin and Austin.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our 74th episode. Make sure to check out our previous episode where we reviewed the NHL Stanley Cup Finals, talked about the future, and then talked about Tampa Bay and the LTIR rule. So make sure to check that out. Also, make sure to keep up with our interviews. Most recent interview being with Julie Dobbs. Now, this is probably the thing I've been looking for the most this MLB season. And that, of course, is the MLB Draft, which happens this Sunday. And we are doing an MLB mock draft for the points because we got to have a scoring into it. Easy point. So you get a point for the right position. But if you get the right player, you get 5 points. Because if it's a player, you get 5 points, which is incredible. And then you also get, so the maximum is 6 points for each pick. But Austin, do you want to start off with your draft?
Yeah, so we'll just go pick by pick, and I'll say my pick, and then you say your pick. But at number 1, I have Marcelo Meyer. I mean, I from everything I've seen, he's the most well-rounded shortstop. He's somebody who transitions to the MLB game faster than I think the rest of the shortstops in this class do. And the Pirates don't feel like taking a pitcher is their biggest need. So I definitely see him going number 1. What about you?
That's who I have. I have Marcelo Meyer as my pick. He is committed to USC. I think the best shortstop is Jordan Lawler, but Mayer's a very good one. He's good at defense. I'll get to some trivia for you about the Pirates' number 1 overall pick. It's their 5th time in their history. And then just to finish out the pick for Mayer, I think they choose him over Lawler because I think teams are afraid that Lawler will choose Vanderbilt over getting drafted if they don't pay him enough. And one thing that I've heard about the Pirates is they don't want to take Jack Leiter because they don't want to pay him the full slot amount. They would like to save some money in that draft slot. So that's why I have him going with Mayer so they can save a little bit money. But Austin, who is the last person the Pirates took when they had the number 1 overall draft pick in the draft?
McCutcheon?
No.
Who is it?
Garrett Cole.
Yeah, I was about to guess Cole, and then I'm like, was he a number 1 pick? I knew he was high. I just didn't know if he was number 1 or not. So, I mean, Garrett Cole is an exceptional pitcher. And, so, I mean, the Pirates have done well drafting really high, but they just got to get everything working out.
This is an interesting thing because the big thing about that draft with Garrett Cole was Garrett Cole and Trevor Bauer, UCLA.
Was that 2011?
Now we got the Vandy pitchers. I think it was 2011.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Um, so, and then of course you have Jack Leiter and Kumar Rocker, and because at number two, I would be so happy. I have the Rangers taking Jack Leiter, the right-handed pitcher from Vanderbilt. It's either him or Lawler, but I see them going with Leiter because Leiter is a great pitcher, and the Rangers really need pitching. Not the last time they really haven't had that ace or that legitimate pitcher, so they can get it here with Leiter, and this will be the first time the Rangers drafting second overall since 1974, where they did not hit quite well on it. So I hope they hit it well here with getting Leiter. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I just want to refer back to the Garrett Cole, Trevor Bauer thing, comparing to Kumar Rocker and Jack Leiter is the relationship. I believe Rocker and Jack Leiter are much more friends than Trevor Bauer and Garrett Cole have ever been. Even at UCLA, they were butting heads. They were both perennial stars in the college game, and now they're perennial stars in the MLB. So I mean, we'll see if those guys can compare to them MLB wise. But at number two, I agree. I have the right-handed pitcher out of Vanderbilt, Jack Leiter, going to the Rangers. Just like you said, they need young pitching. They've had a lot of old pitchers pitch exceptional for them. Lance Lynn, Mike Minor, Kyle Gibson this year, who's 33. Um, but they need a young gun to get things rolling for the future.
Yeah, and Jared Sandler interviewed a draft day guy. This was a few months ago, and they talked about Leiter and Rocker have been very supportive of each other when going through this process. But I'll let you start off with number three.
Yeah, so at number three, I have the Detroit Tigers taking Jordan Lawler. I feel like they really do need a shortstop to handle things, and Jordan Lawler definitely has the highest upside. While he isn't the best all-around talent in my mind right now, in the future, I do think he has the highest upside, and if everything goes right, he should be the best player out of this draft.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, and I agree with your pick. We're three for three right now. I do have Jordan Lawler going. He's incredible. There's one play that I remember while watching one of his games is the ball just went past the third baseman, and Lawler from the usual traditional shortstop spot got to that ball, which it would be a single, and it was a single, but he still threw it to first base, and it's usually where the left fielder picks it. But it was just so incredible to see how fast Jordan got to that ball, and he's definitely has a high upside and also a great character. He's been compared to Carlos Correa and Derek Jeter, so those are definitely high company. So I do believe the Detroit Tigers selected their third baseman, Spencer Tolkien. He may move to first, but then you get your shortstop in Lawler for the foreseeable future. Now we can move on to number four with the Red Sox. I have them selecting Henry Davis, the catcher from Louisville. Davis is regarded as one of the best hitters in this year's draft, and the only bad thing about him is he needs to work on his receiving as a catcher, but he also has a great arm to throw out some stealing base runners. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so at number four, we are currently 4 for 4. I also have the Red Sox taking Henry Davis out of Louisville. I feel like they need another star catcher to get things going. The catcher is a very important position. As we see, the White Sox are one of the best catchers in the AL, and they're obviously doing well. So, I mean, the catcher, I mean, Yadier Molina, he's been with the Cardinals for a while. He's still performing well at his old age. But the Red Sox need one of those staples behind the backstop, and I feel like that'll definitely assist them as they continue moving forward. Like you mentioned, Henry Davis is a very outstanding hitter, but still needs to work on the defensive part of the game, blocking and framing pitches. But throwing guys out, he has a really strong arm, and he's definitely the best catcher in the class. But with my number five pick, I have Brady House. He is a shortstop, and I think the Orioles need a middle infielder here. They have a good first baseman, they have good outfielders, but I definitely feel like this is the best pick for them as they start moving towards start moving out of a rebuild.
Yeah, that's very true. We are not 5 for 5. I have the Orioles selecting Colton Cowser, the outfielder. Some people see him as another great hitter just behind Henry Davis. And he's a guy I think the Orioles can get to pay underslot, which has been a tendency um, but from the Orioles in their first round. They did it with Kerstead last year at number 2 overall. So I have them doing it again with Kowser. So we break the 5-for-5 streak. Who do you have? And then I'll talk about number 6. I have Khalil Watson, the another high school shortstop from being picked by the Diamondbacks. As I've heard, they are linked to him and they would like to draft Watson. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I've also heard that, but I feel like they'll go the cheap route and take a college shortstop here, Matt McClain. I feel like he is a cheaper option. Mostly, the guys at a high school get more money because they could go to college. Most guys at college want to move out of the college game and are less likely to take more money to move on to the MLB game unless they're exceptional like Jack Leiter. But I feel like Matt McClain's the best pick here. A cheap option, but still has very, very high upside, and I definitely think that he will accelerate to the MLB game faster years wise. As obviously he'll probably be older than some of these guys when they move to the MLB, but down the future, 3 years from now, I think he could make the jump, and that'll definitely assist the Diamondbacks as they have struggled as of late with that long losing streak and everything. So at number 7, I have the Royals taking Kumar Rocker. Um, I feel like the Royals need a star pitcher to pair along with their young pitcher Brady Singer. So this is definitely, I think, the best move. And he only falls 6 picks below where Jack Leiter was selected at 2. So at number 7, I feel like this is a good place for him to go. I think he has higher upside than Jack Leiter. However, definitely a lower uh, floor. He could really fall out if he struggles to improve his game. But I feel like the Royals have a good system. They've had a lot of young pitchers that have done well. Zach Greinke was in the Royal system. They're obviously, like I said, growing on uh, Brady Singer. They obviously had Ventura a couple years ago that helped them win the 2015 World Series. So I do think this is a good move for them.
Just for clarification, you did not look at my sheet, correct? And I did not look at your sheet.
No, I did not look at yours.
Because I also have Kumar Rocker going to the Royals at 7. Because before the season, people were talking about tank for Kumar Rocker for the Pirates at number 1, but he hasn't played well near the end of the season, so that's why I think he falls here, especially in the College World Series. He only played 4 innings, and so that's why I have the Royals going here, because you can snag Rocker, and he would be a great pickup if you can get him to fix some things. He just needs to develop another third pitch to go well with already his good fastball. And he also has a nice slider. But now I think we can move on to number 8. I have the Rockies taking Brady House, the shortstop. I believe that they are going to trade Trevor Story to another team. So they're going to need a shortstop. And if they don't trade him, I don't think he comes back. So I have them starting their rebuild with selecting a shortstop in Brady House. Who do you have them picking?
So I have the Rockies going to the outfield. I feel like they need an outfield selection here and to better their outfield as they're getting older and help accelerate this rebuild. Obviously, Tapia, who's in the outfield, is playing well, and I think they pair him with another outfielder who I think is going to be a center fielder. It says outfield, but he is one of the fastest guys in the game that is young, and it's Sal Frelick. He's somebody with very high upside, and like I said, can really move, and that's really going to help him defensively. He is a very interesting player as he came out of Boston College, so I believe he'll take less money, and that'll definitely help the Rockies accelerate their success. But at number 9, I have the Angels taking a pitcher as definitely needed. I have them taking Jackson Jobe. Um, the Angels have really struggled pitching wise for a while now, and I definitely think that is going to be their downfall if they cannot address it. Um, so yeah, I have them taking Jackson Jobe. What about you?
So I do have them taking a pitcher as well, but it is not Jackson Job. As you talked about college, Jackson Job is, I believe, a high school pitcher. So I have them going with a college pitcher in Ty Madden from Texas, who also played well during the College World Series. So I have them going with Ty Madden because statistically, college players don't need as much development as compared to high school players. It's usually around 4 years for high school players, and then around 2 to maybe 3 years for college players. Um, because I have them selecting a pitcher for the same reasons as you, um, because they really need pitching, and if they can find another pitcher to pair with Otani, I think that would really help them. And college being quicker, I think this gives them more time to maybe open a contention window or at least get into the playoffs for while they still have Mike Trout and Otani. Any more thoughts?
No, but number 10, I have Colton Cowser, who I believe you had at 5 going to the Orioles. He's a great player out of Sam Houston State, another college talent, and the Mets want to accelerate their growth because they have DeGrom in his prime. They have I don't believe they'll take a middle infielder because they just traded for Francisco Lindor, but we'll see what happens. And I have them, like I said, taking this great talent out of Sam Houston State. What about you?
Interesting, because I do have them taking a middle infielder, and that is Matt McLean, who I believe you had taken at number 6. I think you mentioned Lindor. I don't think McLean is going to stay at shortstop. I think they're going to move him to second base, but he definitely has a quick bat, so I think they can move him around the infield to help with his bat, and he can take some time to get adjusted. Um, any more thoughts?
No, that's an interesting pick. At number 11, I have the guy that you thought the Angels were going to take, Ty Madden out of Texas, falling to the Nationals. The Nationals have really struggled with the back end of their starting pitching. They have Scherzer, they have Strasburg, and they have Corbin, but at the end, it's really fallen off, and that's really been part of their downfall is they can't win consistently at the end of their rotation. They're obviously going to have to get some guys for the bullpen, but no, normally bullpen guys are starters in college or high school. And so I have them taking like you said, the Angels need Ty Madden because of that acceleration of growth for players that are out of the college game. That's why I have Ty Madden going to the Nationals. What about you?
Very interesting. We swap picks because I have the Nationals taking Jackson Job, the pitcher you had the Angels taking. So I just think Nationals, I think, are going to take a longer rebuild. So I think they're going to take Job, who can take some time to develop, and because I think they're not going to try to accelerate to bring up pitchers. I think they're going to take their time and start this rebuild. But I think we can move on to number 12. I have the Mariners taking a pitcher, and that is Will Bednar from Mississippi State, the right handed pitcher. He played incredibly well in the College World Series, and he won game 3 to seal to win the first ever title in Mississippi State's history in baseball, in college baseball. So I have them going with Bednar, who's um, played very well, and I see his draft stock rising very high. And I think the Mariners could use some pitching, so that's why I have them selecting Bednar. What do you think?
Yeah, so I have them taking a pitcher, but this time a left-handed pitcher. This is why I think Jordan Wicks goes. The Mariners, their only All-Star this season is a pitcher who's a starter for them, I Kikuchi, Kikuchi, something like that. I can't really say name. He's exceptional out of them, and I feel like they try to build up that rotation for the future. They obviously have some young players coming up in positions, but I feel like pitcher is a more uh, necessary spot for them to start building their growth. As like I said, they have good players coming out of their system right now.
Yeah, you are correct. It is Yasi Kikuchi, the left-handed pitcher. So could get a little tandem of left-handers. Um, so I think you can mention your pick for the Phillies.
Yeah. So at number 13, I have the Phillies selecting Khalil Watson. I think you took Watson at 5. Is that correct? Or no, you didn't take him at
No,
5. You took
I
him at
had him at
7.
6.
6? Yeah.
No, I had
Okay.
him at
So you,
6.
you had Khalil Watson at 6. I have him at 13 going to the Phillies. I believe the Phillies need to build up their infield, as their outfield is really where most of the hitting is going, and they're definitely going to have to accelerate their success. I feel like Khalil Watson is definitely a guy that will take a little bit longer to grow into the player he's supposed to be, but once he gets it, he'll be a star player in this league. But we'll see what happens. What about you?
Interesting. I have the Phillies going with the guy in their backyard, and that's Benny Montgomery, the outfielder. I believe that Montgomery is a very good player, and he's a local product, and he is a high school player, so he will take some more time to develop. But I think it will be a good pick for them, as I just kind of see it as little good story, and then just a nice player for them. Um, any other thoughts?
Not really, but at the next pick, number 14, the Giants, which is really crazy. They have the 14th pick, despite probably being the best team in the MLB right now. We'll definitely do a power ranking video soon on the MLB as we get closer to the All Star break. But I have them taking a third baseman, Colson Montgomery. There's varied opinions on Colson Montgomery throughout uh, the many mock drafts that I have looked at, but I feel like Colson Montgomery here would fit in well. Montgomery is a bit of a reach at 15, but I definitely think that he can move into the player that he's going to be in the future. Third baseman is a very essential spot. Most of your best hitters are at third base or first base, and I definitely think he's going to be a great hitter. Many people don't have him this high, but I feel like the Giants will leap at the opportunity of trying to get a young third baseman to pair with their already young players that are helping them reach the heights in the MLB right now.
Interesting. I have the Giants taking Sal Frelick, who I believe you had going to the Mets, correct?
No, I had him going at 8 to the Rockies.
Okay, got it. So I think he falls here, and I see the Giants jumping at it, and like, um, I think just because of what you mentioned with him at drafted by number 8, I think the Giants take that as they see him falling down, and I've heard they are tied to him in some other ways. But I think we can move on to number 15, and I'll let you announce that.
Yeah, so at number 15, I have Bubba Chandler, a shortstop slash right-handed pitcher. He's a very interesting project uh, for any team that selects him, as he is a high school player. But I feel like the Brewers will take that on, as they do need middle infielding, and if he does turn out to be a pitcher, nothing can be wrong with that. They could use end of the rotation arms to help assure their success, and who knows, maybe it becomes another Otani.
You never know. And that's very interesting because I have the Brewers taking a pitcher, but it is not Bubba Chandler. I have them taking Jordan Wicks from Kansas State. Um, I think Kansas State, he's a great product. He does have a very filthy changeup and a good fastball, but still needs to work on a few stuff. But I think him being from college, he can get up there sooner, and it will help the Brewers because they need some pitching um, near the back end. But I think we can move on now to number 16, where I have the Marlins selecting Harry Ford, the catcher who could also be a middle infielder from North Cobb High School. The Marlins do need some catching, but it's not going to be immediate from Harry Ford, but he fills some depth in the minor leagues, and maybe they're looking at Kiner Falefa and seeing how that could turn out with them with Harry Cobbs. So, but he also has a good bat as well. What is your pick?
Yeah, so at 16, I have them taking a middle infielder, Trey Sweetney. I believe that middle infield for them is a much more abrasive issue, something that is preventing them from being as good as they possibly could be. They obviously have Starling Marte in the outfield, who's playing exceptionally well, and obviously their pitching is working out. So I feel like the best move here is to take a middle infielder. One of the very many shortstops taken in the first round. I just think Trey Sweetney right here fits their system the best.
Interesting. I think we can move on now to number 17. I'll let you announce that.
So at 17, I have the Reds taking Andrew Painter. I definitely think that the Reds need more pitching, as he is a right-handed pitcher. Um, the Reds are a team that's getting a lot of production out of their outfield, so I definitely don't think outfielding is an issue. Uh, and Tucker Barnhart is playing well at catcher, so I don't think they really need a catcher. But pitching, I do think, is what will help excel them into the top ranks of the MLB. What are your thoughts?
Interesting. I do agree with the pitcher because I have him selecting a pitcher, but it is Sam Backman, who has a good fastball, a slider that touches the low 90s, and does have a nice changeup, but he needs some better command. So I think the Reds would take him and they can work on command with him. So I think we can move on now to number 18, where the Cardinals, I have them selecting Bubba Chandler, um, the right hand pitcher and shortstop. I think Chandler falls because he is committed to Clemson for baseball and football. So I think some teams are afraid of that commitment because he may want to go play for the Tigers football wise, as they need some depth for the quarterback position. So that's why I think he falls. But I think the Cardinals take a chance on him because having a nice, he could be a Shohei like Shohei, but if they can get a good pitcher or a good infielder, that would be pretty good for them as well. Who do you have them picking?
Yeah, so I have the Cardinals moving into the direction because of Yadier Molina getting older. I have them taking Harry Ford. He could be a catcher, he could be a middle infielder, both positions that they could use. And I definitely think that this is the right way to move. The Cardinals had a stellar start to the beginning of the season, but right now they're falling off, and I think part of that is because of their hitting. And I've heard that Harry Ford is a good hitter, so I not only does he fill positions of need, but he's also helps them with his bat. So I definitely think that's the right move for the Cardinals right now. At number 19, the Blue Jays, I had them taking Sam Bachman because of the reasons you said. He struggles uh, with aiming his pitches, but he can reach high velocity, and I do think that that's going to help them out. The Blue Jays are definitely not a team that needs middle infielding because of how their team's going with Bo Bichette and Marcus Simeon, and they definitely don't need a first baseman because that's where Vlad Guerrero is currently playing, and they have another outfielder, Teoscar Hernandez, who is playing at uh, the All Star game. So they're a team I feel like needs either catching or pitching right now, and I do think pitching in this day and age is more of a pertinent issue.
Interesting. I do have them selecting a pitcher, but since I already had Backman selected in my draft, I have him selecting Kusick, who's huge. He's 6'6", out of Wake Forest, and he could become a reliever. That's what some people are afraid of, but he's still very good and had a breakout season a few years ago, and he has an incredible fastball. He still needs to work on the secondary pitches, like developing his breaking ball, and has a weak changeup. So, and also struggles with command. But I think the Blue Jays take a flyer on him because he has a great fastball, and if he can just pair that up with some breaking pitches, that would be really good for them, and that fulfills a need for them. And I will let you mention your Yankees pick that you have them selecting in your mock draft.
Yeah, so like most of the mock drafts, I've been taking Will Taylor. He is a outfielder, and I do believe that they need a center fielder slash left fielder to help uh, Judge in right field. I've heard that Will Taylor is a good hitter that can definitely accelerate any team's abilities in the outfield. And he's also a decent hitter, so I think that he fills a lot of the needs that the Yankees obviously uh, are going to need to fill.
Interesting. I have the Yankees going a different route with a pitcher, and that is Coughlin, who just had Tommy John. But if he wasn't injured, people were projecting him to be in the top 10. So I see the Yankees taking a flyer on him, thinking that they can help him rehab. And when he does, he can be a great pitcher to add into the rotation because that is also a problem. Because after Garrett Cole, um, there's really not much of a steady pitcher in that rotation. So I think that's why I have them going with um, Coughlin in this draft. What are your thoughts on that pick?
Yeah, it's an interesting selection. We'll see obviously what they do, but with with the 21st pick, I have the Cubs taking Gunnar Hoglund. So I do think that the Cubs could help themselves by getting even more pitching. Obviously, they're not good at run scoring right now, and while I don't believe there's a great hitter right here that can also help defensively, I think taking a pitching here will help them get over the hump of making the playoffs as their division is getting better with the Brewers who keep on winning.
Interesting. I go a different route once again because I see the Cubs taking a longer approach because I think they're going to be sellers at the deadline. So I think they're going to go into rebuild, and I have them selecting a shortstop, Max Muncy, who shares a name and the same birthday with Max Muncy, the first baseman for the Dodgers. And I think he is a good player who has shown some high upside with some power and some good defensive skills. So that's why I have the Cubs taking Muncy there. Um, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's an interesting choice. At 22, though, I had the White Sox taking Tyler Whitaker. I believe that his upside is great, and he is one of the best power hitting high school bats out there. I think that he would climb up draft boards if he does go end up going to college. But if he decides to move to the MLB right out of high school, I definitely think that the White Sox will take him here.
Interesting. I have the White Sox taking Colson Montgomery, who you said is third baseman. I had him. Some things I saw him listed as a shortstop, but I do think he moves over to third base. He does have a good bat and some power, so just a good player for the White Sox to grab. And maybe they move him to shortstop or move him to third base. Very interesting to see who they pick there. What's your next pick?
So my 23rd pick by the Indians is Anthony Solometo. He's definitely a player that needs some time. Someone who needs a great minor league system to help him grow. But once he gets there, he is a quality fastball slider combination, and his arm slot has drawn comparisons to Madison Bumgarner, which is a great thing. He's a 6'5" left-hander, so I mean that really could help out the Indians here. And I mean he's out of high school, so he'll take a little bit longer to grow. But like I said, if you have a great minor league system, I do think he can be a great pitcher.
Interesting. I also have the Indians selecting a pitcher, but it is Chase Petty, the right-hand pitcher, who has a low arm delivery, which I mean they need to work on, but he can touch 100, so he's definitely going to attract some major league teams, and he attracts the Indians, and he fits with Cleveland because they have a great player development, as you mentioned. So I think they can help him get a definitive third pitch, and that would really help them out, in my opinion. But I think we can move on to number 24. I have the Atlanta Braves selecting a pitcher, McGree, McGreevy, who Michael McGreevy, the right-handed pitcher out of UC Santa Barbara, because I think they have dealt with some injuries, especially to Max Fried and Soroka. But I think they add to pitching with McGreevy, but he just needs to develop secondary pitches. So they can take some time for him to develop, and hopefully he stays healthy and then can really help with their rotation. Who do you have the Braves selecting?
So I also have the Braves taking a pitcher at 24, and that's Chase Petty, the guy you just mentioned. He has a very hard slider that is really good, and while he is undersized compared to some of the taller guys that are 6'5", 6'6", 6'7", nowadays pitching, he's 6'2", but he is one of the highest graded fastballs who, like you said, can reach triple digits. And paired with the slider, I think he could be a really effective player in the future. And obviously, the Braves are struggling with injuries at the pitching position, so I definitely think they're going to need to take a pitcher here, and I think Chase Petty is the best available.
Interesting. I think we can move on to the Athletics. Who do you have them selecting?
So at the athletic spot, I have them taking Kai Bush, a left-handed pitcher. Um, so he's someone out of St. Mary's, and while his prospect rank to some people is really really high meaning like 67th, I think he could be a steal if he does fall into the second round. But I don't think he becomes a steal because I believe that the Athletics have been doing their research and taken what he should be selected in the first round. Like I said, he's out of St. Mary's. He's a left-handed pitcher, um, and I definitely think that he could be a great player if he gets the attention he deserves.
Very interesting pick. I have the Athletics taking Will Taylor, the Clemson commit, also for football and baseball. And I think the Athletics a few years ago took Kyler Murray. It's not a famous baseball player, but a very famous football player. So I think, but he chose football over baseball. We can get in that talk about how baseball messed up there. But I have them trying once again at a football commit this time to get Will Taylor, as you mentioned, a great outfielder, some great speed. So I have them selecting him there. I think we can move on now to number 26. I have the Minnesota Twins selecting Jay Allen, who's a great athlete and a good bat, and he used that athleticism well defensively in the outfield, but he lacks some power. So that's one drawback, but they take a great defensive player in the outfield and great speed to help with the base running. I think it's a good player as I think they are starting to enter that rebuild. Who do you have the Twins selecting?
So I have the Twins selecting a pitcher. I feel like pitching is the best way for them to go after their hitting has been doing so well, and the main reason they're losing games because their starting pitching just cannot perform. So I have them taking the last pitcher on my first round board. So the last three selections are not pitchers. 27, 28, 29 for me are not pitchers. All three of them. But at 26, I have them taking the last pitcher, like I mentioned, Gavin Williams, a right-handed pitcher. Um, I feel like he could be a great pitcher. He is one of the best players range wise, meaning that he can pitch very accurately. He knows how to spot his stuff, and he's out of East Carolina. So the A's have a history of adding pitchers, and I definitely think that this is their best move.
Yeah, that is a good move pitching wise. And now, speaking of pitching, I think we can move on to number 27 with the Padres. I have them selecting the left hand pitcher, Frank Mazzucato. He definitely has some high upside, and that's why I think the Padres take him because of his upside, and their rotation seems sort of set now. Um, so that's why I haven't taken a pitcher. Who do you have the Padres selecting?
Like I mentioned, I have no pitchers left in my top 29 slash first round. I have Adrian Del Castillo, a catcher. I believe that the Padres could use an upgraded catcher, and I definitely think that he fits his format. Um, he went to Miami University, University of Miami, whatever it's called, out in Florida, and he's definitely a player that out of the college ranks that will, I think, accelerate fast through the minors and help the Padres out while they still have a young core. So maybe they can take down the Dodgers, Giants, guys in their division faster if they can add this guy who obviously, like you mentioned, out of college, maybe 2 years minimum could get a guy out, maybe three, maybe four, depending on how well the system is. But I mean, the Padres have accelerated a lot of young guys through, and I definitely think that he can fill this need. At 28, I have another catcher being taken by the Rays, Joe Mack. He is a catcher out of Williamsville East High School, and his prospect rank is 19, but I do believe that he falls a little bit because of the rising uh, need for pitchers and shortstops. Um, and he is one of the players that I feel like could really help a team that is like the Rays and needs to win now. Even though he's at a high school, I believe that he's a player who can, because of his talent already, can accelerate fast through the minor leagues and help the Rays while they still have some of their players who are getting older, like Rich Hill, who's 41 and can play a couple more years at the best level. And while Tyler Glass now is going through injuries, maybe this isn't year for the Rays while the Red Sox have passed them in the AL East. So I feel like Joe Mack here could really uh, help them out at the catcher position. What about you?
Interesting. I have the Rays taking Trey Sweeney, who I believe you had taken in the mid first round.
16 by the
I see the
Marlins.
Rays taking. Okay. Okay. Cool. So I have just near the end of the round. Rays did trade away Tyler Adamas, but I think they get another middle infielder. Sweeney has a great bat, good arm, could possibly move to third base, but has good plate discipline. Also can hit a few homers. So I think the Rays take him for that reason. And then I will let you close it out with who the Dodgers have at 29.
So I've seen some of the needs at second base for the Dodgers somewhat, and the injury concerns of guys like Corey Seager at shortstop. And so I found this way too amusing not to choose. And so I have Max Muncy going to the Dodgers. Um, it has him here. Some have him at Maxwell Muncy. Some have him as Max Muncy. Whatever he wants to be called. Sorry if I messed it up, but I have the Dodgers taking him. They've had some injury concerns in their middle infield and some needs at second base times during injury, especially. So I believe that they take a guy with the same name as their all-star first baseman.
Interesting. So they would have Max squared in the Dodgers infield. I have them going in the again another infield. I have them taking Cooper Kinney, who's they don't really know about his position. Some list him at third base, first base, catcher, but he has a great bat and has some power. So that's why I think the Dodgers take him there, and they can figure out his position as he develops and find one. But he definitely has a great bat, and that would definitely help in their lineup. And number 30, oh wait, Astros didn't have a pick this round. Why is that, Austin?
They cheated.
Oh wait, they actually punched them? I didn't know that. I didn't know they could do that. Like I thought it was just like scot free. Wow,
Yeah,
I'm surprised. Wow, that's interesting. Well, good job, MLB,
Manfred did
for
something.
little slap on the wrist, I guess, or is it a little like tap on the shoulder? Because they do have a great farm system, but that's just another joke. Um, Make sure to keep your eye on future episodes. We will keep them up. Our next episode will be about the NBA Finals. Could change depending on how long it goes, but be on the lookout for that. Make sure to check out our interviews. Make sure to check out our NHL episode. It's definitely a must listen. And thank you for listening to Outsiders Opinions.